So JP, thanks for joining us. We're able to chat a little bit before about with this new world and how a lot of business owners are going to have to adapt to that, right? So changing up some processes within their own business, but what about with, customers and partners? What are the new partner interactions that companies are really going to have to adapt to for the new world?
Yeah, well, people are already doing it. And just like everything else, this is an opportunity for you to improve it for the future as well. So start adopting some practices now, getting away from some of these one-off communications where you need to do a phone call to check on the status of something. You need to have a whole customer service team that's there just to provide information that's already there in your systems. So the main thing you want to look at is how can you streamline your interactions with your partners and do it using technology. So there's ways that you may have in place already, and there's ways that you may want to look at to implement. And there's some easy ways to do this, to get the information out there to the right people at the right time when they need it, without having to staff a full-blown call center that all they do is talk to people all day and interpret information from your systems.
So as far as like you were just talking about, just getting your message out there, obviously for someone on the marketing side like myself, I initially start to think about your website, right? And that's your biggest branding tool right there. So what is something that maybe they already have or something they should definitely be adding to the website as a whole to help for, representing themselves, but also allowing for that interaction?
Yeah, people expect to be able to interact with your business on your website these days. That's just an expectation. So even if you can get something very simple on there that while people are there at the office and or working from home, like most of us are right now, that they can interact with people. So there's simple things like chat programs that you can implement that, talk to somebody live now. And that can go to your group of salespeople or to one online salesperson that helps interact right when the person has the question, right when they need it. And people are more likely to do that now, honestly, than picking up a phone and calling you. They can do it from their mobile phone and their browser. They can do it from home. They can do it from their laptop, wherever it is. So getting that interactive chat onto your website is a great way to do it. And then also, being able to create some more interactivity with your customers, with your best partners on there. But I would start with that, make it interactive, make them be able to get the information they need right there on your website.
So, and that's perfect. And then you kind of lead it right into the next thing I want to talk about, which is you're talking about that allowing for more interaction with your customer. Can you talk a little bit about customer portals? And again, maybe, playing devil's advocate for someone who's never even heard of that or doesn't even think that's something they need on their website. How important are having that whole customer portal kind of section going to be?
Yeah, customer portal, if you've never heard of it or you don't know what it is, don't be scared. It's a very simple concept. And the truth is you should link this right from your website. So in addition to what I talked about before, a customer portal is just any way that they can interact with the information from your business after they log in, right? So I want to log in as a customer. I want to see status updates. I want to be able to request something from you. Hey, I want to do business together, and it happens to be 10 o'clock at night when I come up with the idea. So a portal is a way that you can build a web interface for your customers to go on, check status of things, and it can integrate with your back-end systems and show them statuses and actually let them interact. If they want to make an adjustment to an order or something like that, let them do it. But they don't need to talk to somebody at your office to do it. A portal gives them the ability to do it through technology and through a web interface anytime, and you don't need to be staffed and answering that in real time. And you can still get notifications of these things when they happen. So now your sales team or your operations team are getting notified of these requests from your customer and they can respond, but they don't need to be there live with them right then. Some of the coolest things I've seen about web portals are people are like, I got paid at 3 a.m. on a Saturday because that's when the customer happened to go in and pay. We got this new big order approved on a Sunday afternoon because that's when the customer happened to decide, hey, you know what? I'm going to get going on that thing. So they really allow you to do 24/7 business without having to hire 24/7 staff. So customer portals are awesome, and they allow your customers to do business with you anytime and anywhere that they want.
And that sounds so much more important now, especially since, quite frankly, days are kind of blending together, and businesses are a lot more 24/7 now since everyone's working from home and not necessarily driving to a certain destination. So that seems like it's going to be so much more important. So that's kind of interesting with integrations with like stuff like that, customer portals. Do you have any other kind of integrations that are really important now that companies can really be looking into?
Yeah, absolutely. Integration with your systems and their systems is super important. And it depends on what business you're in. You may have, super important relationships with your supply chain, and you want to get integration set up with their system so that you can see what's there, what's available. Especially right now, there may be some hiccups here and there in the supply chain. So you want to be aware of that. So get the integration with your providers, with your vendors, with your suppliers, so you can have insight into that. And that doesn't need to be through a web portal, but if you could give them a web portal, just get that integration going so your team has insight into your supply chain. So your biggest suppliers, you definitely should have these integrations with, so you have that insight, again, so that you don't need them there, and 24/7 you can get access to that information. So get those integrations with your biggest suppliers is number one. And then on the other side, getting the integrations with your existing systems, going back to the customer portal or to anything else, get some integrations going with your back end systems. You don't need to have the latest and greatest ERP or CRM or whatever system it is that you're running your business on to provide a great portal to the world and to your customers. You can integrate with pretty much anything. We've worked on things like mainframes and built nice, modern, mobile friendly portals that integrate with that system back there. So you can integrate with just about anything without having to build from the ground up. So don't think that you can't modernize these communications and collaborations with your partners, with your customers. You can do it even with older systems. Get that integration set up and then build something nice and new and modern for them to use.
Yeah, and with, again, I keep hitting on it, but that's all what we're doing. I mean, with so many workforces working from home, and really just being individuals that are working as a company instead of all together in one building, it doesn't sound like it could be any more of an obvious kind of thing to do right now, is to make everything integrated when it needs to be at the most, right? When companies technically aren't integrated. So yeah, couldn't sound any more important. So I appreciate you giving us some time to talk over a couple things like that. And again, every time I'm looking at you through the camera, it just makes me realize, how important it is to have all this technology, and definitely keep using it. So appreciate the time. Hopefully we'll talk to you again soon.
Sounds good. Thanks, Stephen.
All right. See you, JP.